Maybe some cosmetics companies would like to. As a non-professional, this is my understanding of the genetics. It's not whether you have the gene or don't have the gene. Genes interact with each other, for one thing. Beyond that, genes have characteristics. They can be active, they can be inactive. They have receptors. You can have lots of receptors or just a few receptors. And the number of receptors changes over time. It can change with drinking, it can change with trauma, and probably can change for some other reasons. So that's a whole area that needs to be explored some more. You know, what are the genes? What are the factors of the genes that are appropriate? How do we test for those factors? Do we need to retest for those factors? And then if we have a series of tests and someone has all these factors, what do we do to combat it? And that's just the genetic portion. There's behavioral and cultural and relationships and biochemical. There's just a whole myriad of things that need to be explored. Many of the long-term studies start when someone's maybe 12 to 14 and go through the age of 25 to 26. Because it's felt that by that time it's pretty well known whether someone is going to be predisposed to alcoholism. Well, turns out that's true for men, but not for women. Kind of lies in wait for women and comes out later, often between the ages of 36 and 42. Sometimes it's triggered by a trauma, but we need those studies to go beyond those age groups. What we plan to do is raise funds to look more at the prediction and the prevention of alcoholism. And when we know more, then we can go on to funding research and the treatment. We're a new organization and we're learning our way. So the first year, we're going to raise and dispense funds only in the western part of Vermont. We'd like to move to the whole state of Vermont and into New Hampshire the second year, because I understand that there's some very good work being done at Dartmouth-Hitchcock, for example. Our goal for this year is modest, $15,000 for 2 grants. We've raised over $3,000 of that so far. We'd like to also raise funds for the next year so that the researchers know what's available in advance. There are many research projects in the millions of dollars, but there's also many, many more in the $30,000 to $50,000 range, and we think that we can make a difference in those. On the subject of funding, NIH is the largest sponsor of alcoholism research. And they spend about $430 million a year. And that sounds like a lot. They spend $4.8 billion on cancer, $4.4 billion on AIDS, $1 billion on aging. Now, there are certainly other resources and there are other statistics. Personally, I know, and I think everybody else knows, that you can make statistics say whatever you want, and I'm not going to spend my time looking for statistics. There is much more important work to be done. And I fear the top level of the NIH is as good a data point as any. The research grants that we're going to give are, how do I say it? They have to be measurable. Let's say that a researcher has major funding to look at 7 strains of mice. Maybe we can do an 8th strain. Or if they're looking at 5 methods for something, we can be a 6th method. But it has to be measurable. We don't want to get lost like loose change. It seems like a huge task, and it is. I look forward to meeting you and answering your questions after the program. But I would like to answer one question now. People have asked us what our approach, it's not quite the right word is, on John McArdle's initiative about the drinking age. Our feeling is that if we knew more, he wouldn't need his initiative. We would know the answer. I thank you for listening.
Thank you, Peg. 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 Thank you, P We feel very fortunate to have Alan Massey as our keynote speaker this afternoon. Alan has been employed in various capacities at the Betty Ford Center in Rancho Mirage, California, and is currently providing intensive workshops for chronic relapses in treatment at the center. He will report on confronting alcoholism in the 21st century. We are delighted to have Alan to help us inaugurate our endeavor this afternoon. The Foundation is committed to fostering a deeper and more comprehensive understanding of this devastating disease and what we can do about it. Alan's 38 years of experience lends itself to both ground us and energize our efforts. Please welcome Alan Massey.
That really neat introduction. Is this on? Okay. I would also like to express my appreciation to the Made in Vermont people. That was extraordinary. In true alcoholic fashion, I'm a recovering alcoholic, we tend to be very self-centered. And of course, I arrived here today worried about what I was going to say, and just was so delighted to find something as refreshing and uplifting as the Made in Vermont. That was really neat for me and for us, I think. Yeah. I'm a little itchy about being the keynote speaker. I've never been a keynote speaker before. And I'm especially that in this regard that there are some ways in which my background and experience can lend itself to this project, and I really hope it does. But I'm also a dinosaur. I've been in the business for a long time, and I've been sober for a very long time in recovery. So this whole world of alcoholism is very much a part of my life that has both saved my life and made my life in very many ways. But being in the business as long as I'm in, I tend to get stuck. I think the clinicians call it perseveration. That is to say, thinking along lines that I was thinking of yesterday and not being able to think beyond. And I think the research that the Foundation is aiming towards is that which will advance and bring us far beyond where we are. So I'd like to indicate a few things of what I've experienced that's going on right now in treatment, what I'm up to and what I'm doing, but having in mind also that, and here's the image I want to start and end with in this whole idea of creating a foundation for research in alcoholism, that every dollar, that every effort, that every energy that's placed in this project is going to be like a pebble that is in a pond, with the ramifications being far beyond what the initial donation effort is. And I'm going to explain that as I go along, but I really do think that focusing on alcoholism and doing something about it in research can have far-reaching effects in all of our lives and even in our culture. So, having said that, first of all, to tell you what I've seen that is changed in the world of alcoholism, in our world about alcoholism in the last 35 plus years. And some of you may already be in touch with some of this. When my brother detoxed in 1971 in Syracuse, New York, it was such a blot on it was such a shameful thing to be having an alcohol problem. He was